Issue 97. We start out with Sonic putting on black gloves and a ninja suit, giving himself a secret identity that, still doesn't really work because, for one, the loophole said Sonic isn't allowed to go, and this is still Sonic. And two, it's obvious from the blue in his legs, back spines, and the blue around his eyes that he's Sonic. What other blue hedgehog could it be? He better wear dark sunglasses too to at least try to make a better effort to hide himself. So did he get that ninja outfit from Arachnus? Why would she give that to him? She'd have to take her only clothing off in front of him to inexplicably give him that unless she had a spare. Then some narration says that finding the Sword of Acorns would be a whole nother story. After we see Elias reviewing the message, unfortunately the message is completely garbled by the robot being damaged, leading to him and Jeffrey thinking that Eggman has the Sword of Acorns still. Sally asks why Sonic shouldn't be recruited since Chuck is his uncle after all, but although Elias agrees, Jeffrey butts in and blames Sonic for losing the sword to begin with. Unfortunately, Sally calls him out on not being fair, but then the Queen says that the decision is only Elias's. Yeah, right. That's why Elias didn't pick Sonic. Sonic, after sleeping in a hollowed-out log, hears the voices of Jeffrey's elites behind him talking about going to Eggman's base. If I had any faith they were actually competent, I'd say this would be great news, since they'd come to Robotropolis to save the Overlanders or something. But instead, they're just going to get themselves in danger and force Sonic to take a detour to, well, he's cut off, so I don't know what he was about to say. That was annoying. Eggman is provided with a record of the Overlanders' trip across the galaxy, and told the Overlanders had failed at finding a habitable planet for their kind. So they're advanced enough to have spaceflight technology for all of them that could get them all to wherever they want without running out of anything. But not advanced enough to just terraform any planet they want to be habitable. I guess they didn't have any Chaos Emeralds that could get the job done. What a shame, that would have been the perfect solution. Eggman smirks about business as usual, while a human has some weird sunglasses with letters on, and I wonder what's even going on. Jeffrey and his crew keep going through Eggman's base despite feeling like they're being watched, which thanks to Sonic they are, and an alarm is triggered telling Eggman of their presence. Eggman is shocked at how the camera footage stops, and he tells a very weird looking Snively that I barely recognized at first to keep the man in front of them sedated because their experiment will have to wait. Sonic had taken down the cameras, but it was too late. Jeffrey's elites had been found by Shadow Swap Bots anyways. Some humans really annoy me by what they're saying being against the Mobians, as Sonic comes down to save them. Why couldn't Bomb have just blown up the Swap Bots? I hope he knows at all times exactly how far away he has to be to avoid catching his friends in the blast radius. Then we see Sonic's narration saying that he was embarrassed and he was glad no one could see his face then, but the panel does a terrible job of showing exactly why he felt that way. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Jeffrey acts all rude and paranoid at Sonic in his disguise, and since he surrendered to the Swap Bots without even trying to fight them, he's probably just bitter and embarrassed about needing to be rescued in the first place. Sonic, hopefully disguising his voice, lies that he's from Sandblast City, and it turns out all of them have been put into a cell all of a sudden. While considering most of Sonic's spines were covered by his disguise, it does make sense that he wasn't able to spin dash through all the Swap Bots and defeat them effortlessly, so never mind. Eggman wants answers out of them, questioning each of them one by one, and confusingly, Jeffrey says afterwards that Eggman wasn't even there to interrogate him, that he just stayed in another cell. Is he lying? Sonic says that they might as well leave Heavy and Bomb behind because they can't be roboticized. And for once I agree with Jeffrey as he stands up to Sonic for his callous lack of empathy for them. We don't know how you do things in Sandblast, but here we don't leave friends behind. Especially not after they left Valdez behind. That's probably haunting them. Maybe that's why they have their newfound loyalty. Jeffrey then says Sonic might just be afraid of what would happen when they take him, calling him the coward. And fortunately Sonic resists the urge to start a fight with Jeffrey over that. Then there's a boom sound with some nearby Shadow Swap Bots blowing up next to their cell. I assumed it was Uncle Chuck, but it turns out there's an even better explanation. Bomb had figured it was safe to go explosive once the team was out of blast range, as Heavy points out. Why doesn't Bomb have the ability to talk but Heavy does? I mean, it was established that either of them could talk in Knuckles Chaotix. With that, everyone escapes, including some Overlanders who run out of the city. Then Snively says happily that they'll never suspect that Eggman reprogrammed Heavy and Bomb to engineer the breakout. And Eggman explains that unfortunately, he reprogrammed them to do much more than that. With Sonic separating from Jeffrey's elites, he wonders why it was so easy to break out, pointing out that Eggman could have erected his force field around the city to trap them. Unfortunately, after Sonic takes off his disguise at the log, someone seems to try to arrest Sonic anyways, which is pretty annoying since he shouldn't still be treated like a villain when he's just saved Jeffrey and the elites. And the text at the bottom of the panel says that next up is Sonic Adventure 2. The second story has Knuckles and Tails get into a fight, and I can only hope for Tails' sake that his cape means he was given a sort of super form that would let him fight this really powerful Knuckles so he can kill by his attacks. But even then, how can they possibly make his super form powerful enough for that? I mean, we haven't seen him be given the 7 Chaos Emeralds. At the very least, Tails tries to reason with him while they're fighting, and Aether decides against him and Merlin stepping in, because if they do that, they completely lose Knuckles' trust, as if they have it right now. After Knuckles shoots a laser out of his eyes as part of his super form and the fight progresses some more, Merlin asks in a panic why Tails isn't defending himself anymore. Uh-oh. Knuckles, not showing any remorse for potentially killing his friend, complains that all he asked for was to be left alone. But then he hears Julie Sue calling out for him, which doesn't make any sense to me as she's not in this dimension. And he gets teleported away just like that. At the very least, Tails fighting him got him to this exact place, and for all we know, that's the only reason Knuckles was able to be teleported away like that. Merlin shows that he's a good uncle once again by feeling terrible about Tails getting hurt, saying that he should have never let him do this, even though he should be able to just use potions on him to heal him again just fine. Of course, I'm sure potions have to be drank by someone able to swallow first, and if he's unconscious, he might need an IV that he doesn't have. Merlin then asks Aether what went wrong as Tails seems to be awake again, saying that Turbo Tails, apparently, was stronger than even Super Sonic and Knuckles. Wait, if he was Turbo Tails, then why the hell wasn't he Dark Orange? That's why I wasn't able to tell and thought it was a different form, or not a super form at all. Oh, now he's back to being unconscious, even though his eye was clearly open before. Aether wonders if he could search Tails' subconscious mind for an answer for some reason, while Merlin is no doubt checking Tails' pulse to his chest, and then Merlin reveals that this wasn't the Tails he knew, but some otherworldly duplicate of him. This gets explained later, but that doesn't explain why he wouldn't be powerful enough. Every Tails should logically be just as powerful as each other, with the same DNA basis and all, unless the born powers of a kitsune truly are that random. But I'm confused, how is this the wrong Tails? He was found in the school, and he was with Aether the whole time. At what point did he get replaced? For some weird reason, Aether doesn't have any answers for where this Tails came from, and why did Merlin have to call him an it? He obviously still cared about Knuckles just as much as any real Tails would, because he was trying to reason with him and help him just as desperately. I say that warrants not being called an it. Aether, completely confused as to what to do, says that for the time being, he'll return this Tails to his usual place amongst his own people and say nothing, allowing them to quietly search out the truth, which they won't do, instead of making any rash decisions. Aether knows that this Tails is an innocent who believes himself to be Tails, so why shatter that belief before being capable of dealing with it? That's a very rational and pragmatic choice. I like that. And this Tails already proved himself to be a good person, so I don't see why he shouldn't be trusted. I just hate not knowing where the hell this duplicate came from. Until I would find out, I'm going to be finding this really annoying and confusing. The first story was by Carl Bollers and had Sonic have to bail Jeffrey and his elites out of Robotropolis in a disguise because he's stupidly forbidden from leaving Knothole and helping them, with the aftermath being that Heavy and Bomb were reprogrammed to be sleeper agents for Eggman. This is sad, but does work when you consider that the manual Knuckles Chaotix couldn't decide whether Heavy and Bomb were good guys or spies for Eggman. So now they're going from one to the other, so both ideas get to be used. It really is a shame that Jeffrey's letting his jealousy of Sonic make him be such a jerk to him. I used to kinda like him, at least in the Sally miniseries anyways. I'm surprised we haven't seen Agnes ask Eggman about the Robian that Hope saw, and I still have no idea what he plans to do with the Overlanders. The second story was by Ken Penders and had Tails and Knuckles fight with Tails trying to reason with him like a concerned friend the whole time, only for Knuckles to be warped away after inexplicably hearing Julie Sue. That made no sense. Unless it would be true that Tails fighting him needed to happen for him to be teleported away, this whole fight was pointless and just got Tails hurt. Or rather, got some otherworldly duplicate of Tails that came out complete nowhere hurt, while the actual whereabouts of Tails were known. It'd be interesting if this was an alternate dimension Tails we got to see, but Merlin calls him an it at one point, so it's implied that he's not really that, but some sort of magical construct. I know Kitsune can create illusions, but if something's tangible, it pretty much is disqualified from being an illusion, so it can't be something Merlin made by accident. I can't wait to find out what the hell's going on here, because right now I'm just annoyed and confused at this all coming out of nowhere. I hope things won't be too bad with the fake Tails being sent to a knothole. Like, nobody will find out before they're ready or anything. I mean, he has to have the right memories and stuff about that place, not be totally confused about everything. Because if he hadn't had all of Tails' memories, the confusing thing is that if he has all of Tails' same memories, how is Thayer able to find out that he wasn't the real Tails? His body would seem like the exact same as Tails'. How would he tell the difference? Does he have just weaker magic? You'd think that he would assume not that this is a different person entirely, but instead that Tails just got weaker for some reason. Next up is issue 98, the Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation.